Let's talk about how Michael Saylor is orchestrating one of the most brilliant and clever short squeezes I've seen in a long time. And I truly believe that this could send MSTR's mNAV way over 2.5, just like the last two times the stock short squeezed back in March 2024 and back in November 2024, guys. So we're going to talk about it right here. We're going to talk about how this can happen. A lot's taking place right now, okay? It looks like sentiment is changing. So last week, MSTR was up 13%. Now the stock's over 360 pre-market. So Michael Saylor announced an ATM dilution pause, and that's really buzzing around the markets, it looks like, because the stock is up so much pre-market. So we're going to talk about it right now. We're going to talk about how this brilliant maneuver can send the mNAV well back over 2.5 and kind of reinvigorate and kind of really turn the sentiment around. Before I get into the video, guys, I want to invite you to join the MSTR Investors Club. It's my monthly paid membership. It's only $19.99, about 20 bucks per month. And you guys will get access to my live MSTR options trading videos. I show you guys how I make money trading options during bull runs like this, where basically the price is just moving straight up and calls are printing. So I posted a recent video there showing you guys how I made 45% returns in just 10 minutes. But the funny thing is, if I just held a little bit longer for like an hour or two more, I could have turned that 45% to over 200%. So like I said, I talk about all that stuff in MSTR Investors Club, guys. Be sure to click join or click the link in the description or the pinned comment to sign up, guys, and you guys get access to those videos. I'm going to be posting a lot more trading videos during this bull run. So I don't want to keep this video going too long. I think it's really kind of funny what's been going on, how the sentiment is completely doing a 180, and how everyone just a couple of weeks ago was saying that we were going down below 250. Now it looks like we're going to hit 400 by the end of the week. And Saylor has done something really, really clever. So he posted on X before the markets opened on Monday. He said, over the weekend, he said, no new orange dots this week, just a $9 billion reminder of 𝐒eHODL. So what Saylor's referring to is the $9 billion in Bitcoin gain that MSTR shareholders have experienced over the past week because Bitcoin is up 10%. And that means that Strategy's net asset value of its Bitcoin is up about $9 billion, guys. So that's what he's referring to in this post. Very clever and very cryptic. But I also thought about something else. And I thought to myself, well, Michael Saylor, this guy is an MIT engineer. He's not only a really smart guy, but he's very technical. And then I thought to myself that he's probably single-handedly trying to get the mNAV back up. So when he does dilute the stock, it's more accretive to shareholders. So I came up with this little thesis here on why he's just pausing, right? So here's my thought process, guys. So first of all, MSTR is brilliant financial engineering, just to have the ability to talk about this company with you guys and what Michael Saylor and Phong Le and all of the brilliant people at Strategy is doing. It's really an honor, because the more and more I make these videos, the more and more I realize that like so many people have said with these preferred stocks, it's the iPhone moment. I think really this is different. Like what he's doing is, I understand it, but I think I don't understand a lot of it, which is why it's so powerful, and it's really awesome to learn it alongside you guys at the same time. So now we understand how it's brilliant financial engineering. Let's talk about what he's really doing. So Michael Saylor paused the ATM during the first week of October. Why? Why did he do this? Well, this is what I'm thinking, okay? So human nature is predictable, right? Fear and greed drive markets, okay? Obviously, we know earnings over the long run drive stock prices, but we're not talking about stock price. We're talking about market sentiment. We're talking about how people feel while they're investing. And, before we had a lot of fear in the markets, okay? A lot of you guys were, posting, disgruntled comments saying you tapped out. This long drawdown here took out a lot of paper hands, okay? A lot of paper hands couldn't survive this drop from 460 almost all the way down to 280, okay? So right now we have a whole new investor base because a lot of the paper hands, a lot of the people that didn't understand the seasonality of MSTR, you guys check out that video if you guys don't understand how Q4 is so much better than Q3. They panic sold, okay? But what I think Saylor understands is that now we had max fear a couple weeks ago. Now we're entering max greed, okay? And greed can do some really impressive things to markets, okay? So if we go down here, this is on SaylorTracker.com, fantastic tool. So if we take a look here and we look here, like for example, the last year, we see the mNAV was over 3 back in November, okay? And if we back up again, we can see the mNAV again was over 3, as I mentioned earlier in March. And then again, it was over 3 or 2.5 back in, it was back in what, like June of 2021, okay? So what's going on here? Well, last year, you guys can see this, last year the mNAV skyrocketed during, Q4, okay? Now, why would Saylor do this? Why would he want the mNAV to just skyrocket instead of just constantly tapping the ATM every week to buy Bitcoin? Well, that's simply because I think Saylor wants to induce forced short covering, okay? We've been talking about the short squeeze a lot in the last couple of videos. We need volume to cause the squeeze. The squeeze is only going to happen because the price shoots up and the short sellers are forced to cover. So the FOMO buying coupled with the short covering together creates like an explosion in the volume. So what I'm talking about here is, we take a look here over at the last year. Let's look here at these. So you reset the chart so you can see it, okay? Take a look here at the volume. Do you see what I mean on this chart? The volume spiked. And then if we look at the weekly, we see another volume spike. So the same volume spike here in the weekly in November 2024 reached 310 million shares that week. That was the top of the squeeze, okay? That explosive buying. And then again, there was another squeeze moment back in March 2024. And then the one previously that I mentioned where the mNAV was elevated was back in 2021. So there are 3 separate instances where the weekly volume became elevated. Back in 2021 in February, it was 90 million shares for that week. And then back in March 2024, 200 million shares. And most recently, 300 million shares traded. Okay, if you guys have quietly noticed, when the squeeze happens, the weekly volume has increased. So it went from 90 to 200 to 300. So we expect the volume to again be stronger because the company has way more Bitcoin on its balance sheet. They've increased the Bitcoin holdings over 150% since last year. Okay, and more as as Bitcoin becomes, the price of Bitcoin starts to go up and up and up, more and more people are going to start talking about MSTR, strategy, this company, they have all this Bitcoin. So I expect the volume to be even higher. So, okay, so when that happens, that's going to send the mNAV higher. Why? Because fear and greed drive markets, like I mentioned before. It wouldn't make any rational reason for anyone to be more interested in MSTR when the mNAV is elevated, but that ends up what happens during greed moments in markets where so many people are piling into MSTR, and like you saw here last year in Q4 when the squeeze happened, the volume was just so high and the shorts had to cover. The market didn't have time to readjust the mNAV. And what that did is that created a great opportunity for Michael Saylor to acquire more Bitcoin. Okay, so as I mentioned the last point here, Saylor can tap the MSTR ATM above 2.5, mNAV, to buy more Bitcoin per equity guidance. So here's the equity guidance I'm referring to. This is the amended equity guidance where the company changed its policy. But if the mNAV does expand, which I expect it to do, because once again, fear and greed drive markets, okay? So when that mNAV expands, that's when I expect Saylor to start tapping the ATM again. So what I think he's really doing here is he's trying his best to maximize the squeeze and to get as many shorts to cover and to put the price up as much as possible, and then he can tap the ATM to buy more Bitcoin. And this is playing out in real time, okay? We take a look here at the weekly volume. It's not going up that much, but this was a pretty big, change in momentum, okay? Last time we've had these thick green weekly candles where we saw strong volume and strong price movement. Those were bottoms. So here, a bottom here, a bottom here, a bottom here. So, You know, historically, when we see that big, thick green weekly candle and the change in sentiment, that's a really positive momentum shift. And that's where I expect the mNAV to increase. Now, I don't expect this to last forever. I expect, you know, maybe as we creep up into like 2026 and as we head into the 2026 crypto bear market, maybe the mNAV will come back down. But, you know, people are going to start to FOMO into this stock. You guys believe it. For you guys who have been following me since the early days of this channel back in August and September, it's going to be eye-opening to see how your friends, family, and coworkers change their tune in about a month's time once we hit all-time highs. But that's how people are, man. You know, fear and greed really drive people's emotions when it comes to investing. So you just got to hang in there and understand that at the end of the day, it's almost impossible for any other company in the world to get 640,000 Bitcoin. And that's exactly what Michael Saylor has done in 5 years. So that's it, guys. I'll wrap this video up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, guys, that's my thesis on this pause. I don't think it'll be forever. It probably only lasts for maybe a few weeks or so, and then he'll tap that ATM when the mNAV is much higher. So if you guys enjoy my content, be sure to check out my ebook, guys. As I mentioned in the MSTR Investors Club, I also have an ebook show you guys how to trade options. Guys, this is a great time to make money trading options. I'm telling you. So much green, so much options volume these calls are printing. I mean, I was just, even last week, I made good money. I should have made way more, and some of my long-term calls are printing as well. Really exciting times, guys. This is the time to run up your bag. Run up your bag in Q4, take your profits on these options, and then just sit on your long shares, or if you're really swing trading, take your profits at the top, wait for the bear market, and buy back in. So I talk more about that, obviously, guys, in my ebook. Be sure to check it out. And you guys sign up using the link in my pinned comment or description. You guys get 10% off with the October code applied. So check that out. So that's all I got. Until the next one, guys. Take care.